20 awesome women in Star Trek. Star Trek has introduced an incredible cast of truly amazing women throughout its nearly 60-year history. In the utopian future of Star Trek, women can climb the ranks of Starfleet to achieve the same positions of authority as their male counterparts. While this ideal was somewhat hindered by the landscape of the 1960s, modern Star Trek fully embraces Gene Roddenberry's vision of a peaceful future where all kinds are welcome. From L.T. Uhura, Nichelle Nichols, on Star Trek, the original series, to Captain Michael Burnham, Sonequa Martin Green, on Star Trek Discovery, every Star Trek series has included great female characters. Since Star Trek, the original series and its movies, women have served as Starfleet captains, admirals, and everything in between. Star Trek Discovery even introduced a new United Federation of Planets president in Lara Rillick, Chella Horstel, and a Vulcan president of Nevark, Trina, Tara Roslin. Not only were both of these women incredibly intelligent and great at their jobs, but they were also compassionate and authentic in the best way. A true list of amazing Star Trek women would include far more than 20 characters, but nevertheless, here are 20 of Star Trek's greatest female characters. Commander Ro Laren. Ro Laren only appeared in 8 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation and 1 of Star Trek Picard, but she remains one of the franchise's most memorable and compelling recurring characters. Introduced in the TNG Season 5 episode, Ensign Ro, the fiery Bajoran Ensign Ro was impulsive and slow to trust, but she was also incredibly clever and able to adapt to any situation. Ro followed her heart and her strong sense of morality in joining the Maquis, determined to stand against injustice, even if it meant betraying Starfleet. Ro was later recruited by Starfleet intelligence. In Star Trek Picard Season 3, Ro remained strong in her moral convictions in her eventual confrontation with Admiral Picard decades after her betrayal. Despite their differences, Ro trusted Picard to do the right thing, and her paranoia regarding the changeling infiltration of Starfleet turned out to be well-founded. As the enigmatic 10-forward bartender on the USS Enterprise D, Guinan patiently listened to the troubles of the ship's crew members and offered advice. Guinan was one of Picard's closest friends and one of the few people he would approach for counsel. With her understated sense of humor, Guinan had a knack for pointing people in the right direction and getting them to come to realizations on their own. Guinan returned in Star Trek Picard Season 2 when Picard sought her out in the 21st century at 10 Forward Avenue in Los Angeles. This younger Guinan, Ido Aguirre, did not yet know Jean-Luc Picard, but she helped him anyway, pointing him in the direction of the Watcher he was searching for and contacting Q, John Delancey. For 6 seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation, Dr. Beverly Crusher served as the chief medical officer aboard the USS Enterprise D. Dr. Crusher's medical and scientific knowledge helped save the Enterprise crew on multiple occasions, and her profound compassion made her a great doctor. Beverly often served as the moral compass of TNG, and she was one of the few Enterprise crew members who would openly challenge Captain Picard. Beverly managed to be a skilled doctor, an intelligent scientist, and a good mother to her son Wesley Crusher, Will Wheaton, and she did all 3 jobs with distinction. Dr. Crusher returned with a bang in Star Trek Picard Season 3, having spent the last 20 years traveling the galaxy helping those in need. Dr. Crusher remained an excellent doctor and had also learned her way around a ship's weapons system. Counselor Deanna Troi may not have always gotten the best storylines on Star Trek The Next Generation, but she was nevertheless a vital member of the USS Enterprise D crew. As a half-betazoid, Troi could sense the emotions of those around her, which proved useful on numerous occasions. In many ways, Troi was the heart of TNG, and her skill as a counselor helped the Enterprise crew function together well. Deanna Troi's relationship with Commander William Riker, Jonathan Frakes, became one of Star Trek's greatest romances, as evidenced by their return in Star Trek Picard Season 1. Deanna finally got to save the day in Star Trek Picard Season 3, as her empathic abilities in connection with Riker allowed her to save the lives of her friends from the Borg. LT, Commander Yajia Dax, was the science officer on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. As a joined Trill, Yajia was the 8th host for the Dax symbiote, whose previous host had been close friends with Captain Benjamin Sisko, Avery Brooks. With the knowledge and experience of 7 previous lives, Yajia had a passion for life and was very comfortable in her own skin. When LT Commander Worf, Michael Dorn, joined the cast of DS9, He later fell in love with Yajia, and the two have one of Star Trek's greatest love stories. Yajia had a particular appreciation for Klingon warrior culture, and she truly brought out the best in Worf. Not only did Yajia have a fun and infectious personality, but she was also an incredibly capable and intelligent Starfleet officer who wasn't afraid to stand up for her convictions. As the Bajoran liaison officer on Starfleet Space Station Deep Space Nine, Major Kira served as Captain Sisko's second-in-command. Prior to her position on DS9, Kira had been part of the Bajoran resistance fighting back against the Cardassian occupation of Bajor. With her passion for the Bajoran people and her strong moral values, Kira proved to be vital in the fight against the Dominion. Even after the Dominion took over DS9, Kira continued to fight against them, eventually helping Starfleet retake the station. Kira took over command of the space station when Sisko disappeared in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's series finale. With her warrior's heart and strong sense of justice, Kira remains one of Star Trek's strongest and most capable characters, regardless of gender. Because of her Klingon half, B'Elanna Torres sometimes felt like an outsider at Starfleet Academy, and she got in trouble with her instructors on multiple occasions. Despite her intelligence and engineering prowess, she dropped out of the Academy and joined the Maquis, eventually ending up on the USS Voyager. B'Elanna may have been headstrong, but she was also resourceful, intelligent, and brave. Captain Kathryn Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, initially thought B'Elanna was too much of a loose cannon to be the USS Voyager's chief engineer, but B'Elanna later proved she had no trouble coming up with innovative solutions to keep the ship running. B'Elanna's romance with LT Tom Paris, Robert Duncan McNeil, helped soften her cold exterior and gave her the chance to find happiness, but she never truly lost her tenacious side. Jeri Ryan's 7 of 9 has come a long way since her introduction on Star Trek Voyager as a Borg drone. Not only did Seven prove that Borg drones could be rehabilitated, but she became a valuable member of the ship's crew in her own right. Seven's journey to rediscover her humanity became one of Voyager's best storylines, and Seven joined the ranks of Star Trek's best characters. Seven returned in Star Trek Picard, eventually becoming captain of the USS Enterprise G. Despite her no-nonsense attitude, Seven cared deeply about the people around her and would do anything to keep them safe. Between Seven's relationship with Commander Raffi Musiker and her adventures with Admiral Picard, she became a more fully realized character in Star Trek Picard than she had been on Voyager. On Star Trek Voyager, Kate Mulgrew's Kathryn Janeway more than lived up to the task of being the first female captain to lead a Star Trek show. Janeway commanded the USS Voyager on its 7-year journey through the unexplored Delta Quadrant, facing off against powerful enemies and establishing first contact with several new species. Janeway proved herself to be a strong leader numerous times over, as she was faced with impossible decision after impossible decision. After the USS Voyager returned from the Delta Quadrant, no one would have blamed Janeway for seeking an early retirement, but she continued to devote her life to serving Starfleet. Janeway was promoted to Vice Admiral and continued to passionately fight for the Federation's ideals. With her strong moral convictions and caring nature, Janeway made a great captain who was extremely dedicated and loyal to her crew.